Forget the Fireblades. Forget the R1s. They cost a fortune. We are hunting the forgotten giants hiding in the shadows. The weird cousins. The engineering experiments that were too advanced for their time. These machines aren't bad. They are just misunderstood. And today, that is your secret weapon. Unknown also means cheap. We found 18 hidden gems that offer superbike performance for scooter money. Stop overpaying for hype. It is time to ride the best-kept secrets in Japan. Number 18, the Yamaha FZX700 Fazer. We begin our journey into the unknown with a motorcycle that was a victim of international trade wars and confused marketing. If you love the muscular drag strip look of the legendary V-Max, but are terrified of its catastrophic handling and abysmal gas mileage, this first bike is the secret alternative that costs less than a used smartphone. The engine is a 698 cubic centimeter inline-4. It makes 82 horsepower. It screams to 11,000 revolutions per minute, yet it sits in a bike that looks like a cruiser. Why has nobody heard of it? It was the baby V-Max. Nobody wants the baby, everyone wants the big daddy. It was also stuck in the weird 80s tariff era in the United States, where motorcycles over 700 cubic centimeters were taxed heavily to save Harley-Davidson. Yamaha sleeved down the 750 engine to 698 to beat the tax, creating a US-only oddity. But here's why it is so good. It is a sleeper. It looks like a slow, heavy cruiser, but it has the heart of a sport bike. You can embarrass modern Harleys stoplight to stoplight without trying. It handles better than it has any right to, thanks to the sport bike-derived engine placement. Back then, this was a brand new $4,000 machine, but today, you can ride one home for just $2,000. But if the Fazer was a muscle bike trying to be a sport bike, our next entry is an even stranger mix. V-twins are usually reserved for rumbling cruisers. Shaft drives are usually for heavy tourers. But what happens when you put them both into a naked roadster designed for the canyons? You get one of the weirdest, most lovable failures in Suzuki history. Number 17, the Suzuki VX800. The Suzuki VX800 is the definition of a gentleman's roadster. It was designed in California to be a relaxed, torque-heavy machine for the backroads, a bike for the rider who appreciated engineering over flash. The engine is an 805 cubic centimeter V-twin, producing 63 horsepower. It isn't fast by modern standards, but the torque is everywhere. You can leave it in third gear and ride a winding road all day without touching the shifter. So why has nobody heard of it? It was boring. In the early 90s, everyone wanted neon colors, plastic fairings, and race replicas. The VX800 looked like something a librarian would ride. But today, that boredom is its brilliance. It is unkillable. The engine is massively understressed. The wheelbase is long, making it incredibly stable on the highway. When it was new in 1990, it cost $4,500, but the market has been kind to us. And now, they're selling for about $1,800. Now, huge engines are fun, but there is a magic to small precision engineering. We all know the massive Honda CB750. But did you know Honda made a tiny, jewel-like version in the late 80s that revs to the moon and handles like a scalpel? It is a watchmaker's motorcycle. Number 16. The Honda CB1. This bike was only sold in the United States for 2 years, from 1989 to 1990. It was a naked sport bike before that was even a category, and it remains one of the sweetest handling machines Honda ever built. It is tiny, dense, and beautifully engineered. It is powered by a 399 cubic centimeter inline-4, making 55 horsepower. The red line is a stratospheric 13,500 revolutions per minute. You have to wring its neck to make it go, which is half the fun. Why did it fail? It was simply too expensive. When it launched, it cost almost as much as a 600 cubic centimeter sport bike. American riders buy horsepower by the dollar, so they ignored this tiny masterpiece in favor of the bigger, faster Hurricane. However, the CB1 is a momentum bike. You never use the brakes. You just scream the engine, tuck in, and flow through corners carrying impossible corner speed. It is arguably one of the most fun bikes Honda has ever made because it rewards skill over bravery. Finding one today is like finding a diamond in a pile of coal. It was so expensive at launch, $3,700 in the 90s. But the good news is that its used price of $3,000 has held up fairly well for such a rare find. If the CB1 was high-tech, our next bike is the glorious opposite. Air cooling is dead in the modern world, killed by emissions regulations. But right before it died, Kawasaki built one last monument to the cooling fin. This bike is the ultimate standard motorcycle, and you can buy it for the price of a good bicycle. What is your favorite bike on this list? Let us know in the comments. Number 15, the Kawasaki ZR7. The Kawasaki ZR7 is the working class hero of the motorcycle world. It isn't fast, it isn't high-tech, it is just a motorcycle. 2 wheels, an engine, and handlebars. It represents the end of the universal Japanese motorcycle era. It uses a simplified, modernized version of the old Z750 engine from the 80s. It has unitrack rear suspension and a massive 5.8-gallon fuel tank that gives it incredible range. The styling is simple, with a round headlight and clean lines that have aged surprisingly well. The heart of the beast is a 703.8 cubic centimeter air-cooled inline 4, making 76 horsepower. It is tuned for mid-range punch rather than top-end scream. It is unknown because it lived in the shadow of the ZR700 and the flashy Ninjas. It was the budget bike in the lineup, so magazines ignored it, and teenagers didn't put posters of it on their walls. But here is why it is so good. It is cheap to buy and essentially free to run. There are no radiators to leak, no water pumps to fail, and no complex electronics to troubleshoot. It is comfortable, capable, and looks like a proper motorcycle should. It is the perfect blank canvas for a custom build or a reliable commuter that will never let you down. It originally sold for $5,000, which means you can pick one up today for a mere $2,000. We often think of Ducati as the master of the V-twin sound, but in the 90s, Yamaha proved they could steal that thunderous soundtrack, put it in a reliable package, and sell it for half the price. Number 14, the Yamaha TRX850. The TRX850 is often called the Japanese Ducati, and for good reason. It features a tubular trellis frame that looks suspiciously like a Ducati 900 SS and a half fairing that screams Italian style. But the secret weapon is inside the engine. It uses a 270-degree crank. This firing order mimics the pulse and traction of a 90-degree V-twin, even though the engine is a parallel twin. This technology is now famous in the MT-07, but the TRX did it first. It gives the bike a gruff, angry character that is completely addictive. It features an 849 cubic centimeter parallel twin engine producing 83 horsepower. It is punchy and raw. It is largely unknown because it was never officially sold in the United States, though many were imported as gray market bikes. And in Europe, it was overshadowed by the flashy 4-cylinder sport bikes that dominated the sales charts. I rode one of these in the UK on a wet, miserable day. I expected it to be boring. Instead, I found myself chasing modern sport bikes through the gloom. The traction out of corners is incredible. The engine digs in and launches you forward without spinning the tire. And unlike a Ducati of that era, the electrics actually work when it rains. This exotic machine cost $8,000 back then, and you can now find one for around $3,500. I want to hear from the veterans. Did you own one of these forgotten machines back in the day? Did you buy a Hawk GT for peanuts before they got expensive? Share your best cheap bike story in the comments. The craziest story gets a pin. Let's go. Number 13, the Suzuki RF900R. The RF900R was Suzuki's stopgap bike before the legendary Hayabusa arrived. They needed something fast, comfortable, and cheap to fill the gap in their lineup. What they came up with was a bizarre mix of parts that somehow worked brilliantly. Technically, it uses a steel perimeter frame painted to look like aluminum. The engine is essentially a water-cooled GSXR 1100 bottom end mated to a GSXR 750 top end. This combination created a torque monster that loved to rev. The engine is a 937 cubic centimeter inline 4, making 135 horsepower. In the mid-90s, that was serious power. Why has nobody heard of it? The styling. It looks like a spaceship from a low-budget sci-fi movie. The taillight is huge and wraps around the whole rear section. The side vents are enormous and garish. People thought it was ugly, so they stayed away. But today, it is a budget missile. It is comfortable enough to tour on all day, but fast enough to run 10-second quarter miles. It is bulletproof, reliable, using proven Suzuki oil-cooled DNA adapted for liquid cooling. If you can get past the looks, you are buying a hyperbike for the price of a moped. This hyperbike originally commanded $8,000, but its weird looks mean you only have to pay about $2,500 for one now. We are going back to the early 80s now. Honda wanted to capitalize on the American flat track craze, where riders slid sideways on dirt ovals. They built a V-twin street tracker that was light, punchy, and cool, but nobody understood it. Number 12, The Honda Ascot VT500. Not to be confused with the awful single-cylinder FT500 Ascot, the V-twin Ascot is a flat-track inspired riot. It was Honda trying to be American and sporty at the same time. It uses a narrow 52-degree V-twin engine with 3 valves per cylinder. It has a shaft drive, which is incredibly odd for a sporty bike meant to emulate dirt trackers, but it makes it virtually maintenance-free. The styling is boxy, upright, and distinctly 80s. The engine is a 491 cubic centimeter V-twin, making 50 horsepower. It isn't a powerhouse, but it is lively. It is unknown because it was only sold for 2 years, 1983 and 1984. It fell into the black hole of 80s Honda experiments, lost amidst the turbos and the V4s, but it is so good because it is skinny. You can thread this thing through traffic like a bicycle. The V-twin sounds great with a set of aftermarket pipes, and it has that classic 80s boxy styling that is finally coming back into fashion. It is a reliable shaft drive city bike that exudes cool. In 1983, it was a cheap bike at $2,000, and now it's even cheaper, selling for around $1,500. Everyone is going crazy for the new Kawasaki Z900RS retro bike. It is beautiful, but it is expensive. But what if I told you Kawasaki built the original retro bike in the 90s, and you can buy it for pennies? It is the authentic grandfather of the modern retro movement. Number 11. The Kawasaki Zephyr 750. The Zephyr series was Kawasaki looking at their legendary Z1 and saying, let's bring it back. It is beautiful. It has a round headlight, a ducktail rear cowl, chrome fenders, and dual analog clocks. It is motorcycle design distilled to its purest form. It uses an air-cooled engine derived from the GS750. It features twin rear shocks, dual disc brakes, and a comfortable bench seat. It is simple technology done right. The engine is a 738 cubic centimeter inline-4, making 68 horsepower. Why is it unknown? In the 90s, retro wasn't cool yet. People wanted plastic fairings, neon graphics, and digital speedometers. The Zephyr looked old to them. It sat on showroom floors unwanted. Now it looks timeless. This is the real deal. It isn't a modern bike dressed up to look old. It is an old-school design built with 90s manufacturing quality. It is arguably the best-looking budget bike on this list, and prices are just starting to creep up as people realize what it is. Grab one now before they become collector's items. It was a $6,000 bike when new in 1991, and you can still find this timeless classic for a great price of about $3,000. Sometimes a manufacturer just goes into the parts bin, grabs whatever is lying around, closes their eyes, and accidentally builds a masterpiece. This next bike is the ultimate parts bin special, and it is an absolute riot to ride. Number 10. The Yamaha Radian 600. The Radian is a Frankenstein monster in the best possible way. Yamaha needed a budget bike, so they raided the shelves. It uses the frame from the Radian 600, the engine from the FZ600 sport bike, the instruments from the FZ750, and the headlights in chrome from the V-Max. It has no tech, it has carburetors, air cooling, and a chain. It is pure, unfiltered motorcycle. The engine is a 598 cubic centimeter inline-4, making 66 horsepower. It is tuned for street fighting, with shorter gearing that makes it accelerate hard. It is unknown because it was a budget bike in the 80s. It didn't win races, it didn't break records, it just worked. It was the bike you bought when you couldn't afford the FZR. This budget hero costs $3,000, and its used price is a steal at just $1,500. Click on the like button and subscribe to our channel. Before the Ducati Monster became the icon of naked bikes, and before the Suzuki SV650 became the favorite of track day riders, there was a Honda that was 10 years ahead of its time. Honda built the perfect motorcycle, and they paid the price for it. Number 9. The Honda Hawk GT. The Hawk GT is a cult classic that gets more desirable every year. It features a single-sided swing arm, an aluminum beam frame, and a sweet, torquey V twin engine. It was high-tech, beautiful, and expensive. And that swing arm is the star. It looks like it came straight off an RC30 race bike. It has a twin-spar aluminum frame that was unheard of on a naked bike in 1988. It was stiff, light, and exotic. The engine is a 647 cubic centimeter V twin, making 58 horsepower. Why did nobody buy it? It flopped hard. Riders in the late 80s looked at the horsepower, which was low, and the price, which was high, and walked away. They bought the cheaper, faster Hurricane instead. They didn't understand that handling mattered more than power. But the Hawk GT handles telepathically. It is light, narrow, and stiff. You think about a corner, and the bike is already turning. Today, it is a collector's item for those who know, but you can still find riders who don't know what they have selling them cheap in the classifieds. It was an expensive $4,000 in the 90s, but its growing cult status means its used price is still quite high at $3,500. You want a sport tourer that can do 160 miles per hour, has anti-lock brakes, and costs less than a scooter? Meet the forgotten sibling of the Ninja ZX11, the bike that was once the fastest production motorcycle in the world. Number 8. The Kawasaki GPZ1100. Kawasaki took the world-beating ZX11 engine, tuned it for torque, and put it in a steel tube frame with more relaxed ergonomics. They created a highway missile that could cross continents without breaking a sweat. It was one of the first bikes to offer ABS as an option in the mid-90s. It has a massive fairing and a comfortable seat that allows for all-day riding. The engine is a 1,052 cubic centimeter inline-4, making 129 horsepower. It has lungs. It pulls from idle to redline with a relentless surge of power. It is unknown because it looked boring. It looked like a police bike. It lacked the ninja aggression and the flashy graphics, so the speed freaks ignored it. It was too sensible for the hooligans and too fast for the cruisers. But it is comfortable and savagely fast. You can put hard bags on it and cross the country in record time. It is robust and simple. If you want big horsepower for little money, this is the secret weapon. You would have paid $8,000 for this beast back then, but now you can snag one for a ridiculously low price of $2,000. Today, everyone loves adventure sport bikes like the Tracer or the Multistrada. But in the early 90s, Yamaha invented the category and everyone laughed at them. This bike was the first crossover, and it is a brilliant machine that time forgot. Number 7. The Yamaha TDM 850. The TDM is a total weirdo. It has the long travel suspension of a dirt bike, the frame of a sport bike, and a parallel twin engine. It looks like a praying mantis. It sits high and upright, giving a commanding view of the road. It uses the same 270-degree crank engine as the TRX850 in later models. It has a Delta box frame, which provided sport bike stiffness in a touring package. The engine is an 849 cubic centimeter parallel twin, making 77 horsepower. Why is it unknown? It was too weird. People didn't know what it was. Is it a dirt bike? Is it a sport bike? They were confused, so they didn't buy it. It didn't fit into the nice, neat categories of the 90s, but it is the perfect real-world motorcycle. It soaks up potholes, sees over traffic, and handles curves brilliantly. It was 20 years ahead of its time. If Yamaha released it today, it would be a bestseller. In '92, this crossover cost $8,000, but it's now a budget ADV steal at $2,500. Our next bike is arguably the ugliest bike Suzuki ever made, and that is exactly why you should buy one. It is beauty in the beast. Number 6. The Suzuki GSX 750F Katana. This bike is the definition of function over form. Suzuki took the legendary oil-cooled GSX-R 750 engine, a race-bred motor, and wrapped it in a blob-like steel frame with a comfortable seat and swoopy organic bodywork. It features the Suzuki Advanced Cooling System, the famous oil-cooled engine. It is indestructible. You can run these engines without oil for a surprising amount of time, though please don't do that. It is simple, powerful, and reliable. The engine is a 748 cubic centimeter inline-4, making 92 horsepower. Why does nobody talk about it? Because they looked away in disgust. It looks like a melted jelly bean. Enthusiasts mocked it. It had no street cred, but it is a GSX-R in disguise. If you can get past the looks, you get a 90 horsepower sport bike with all-day comfort for dirt cheap. My friend bought one as a winter beater. He treated it terribly. He left it outside in the snow, never changed the oil, dropped it in the driveway. It started every single morning. He eventually sold it for exactly what he paid. It is a loyal dog of a bike. This melted jelly bean cost $7,000 new and is now often found for a mere $1,500, which is an absurd bargain for the engine you get. In the late 90s, Honda decided they wanted to kill the Ducati 916. They built the RC51 to win races, but they built the Superhawk for the street. This is a liter-class V-twin for the price of a used scooter. Number 5. The Honda TR1000 Superhawk. This is a liter bike V-twin with Honda reliability. It is simple, raw, and incredibly torquey. It has side-mounted radiators to keep the wheelbase short, giving it agile handling. It uses pivotless frame technology where the swing arm bolts directly to the engine case, saving weight. It has huge 48mm carburetors that gulp fuel and air. The engine is a 996 cubic centimeter V-twin, making 110 horsepower. Why is it unknown? It had a fatal flaw, a tiny gas tank. The range was terrible, often less than 100 miles before the light came on, and it lived in the shadow of the race-winning RC51. But it is so good because it does wheelies everywhere. The torque is addictive. It sounds like thunder. It is a pure rider's machine that costs a fraction of a Ducati. You spend more time at the gas station, but you arrive there with a massive smile on your face. Its original price was a hefty $8,900. And now, this V-twin monster is a bargain at $3,000. Now, what about a bike with kickstart only? Single cylinder, twin shocks. This bike is mechanical art, but in 1986, nobody wanted art. They wanted speed. Number 4, the Yamaha SRX600. The SRX is a minimalist masterpiece. It was designed to be narrow, light, and focused on cornering speed. It is a thumper for the canyons, stripped of anything that doesn't make it go, turn, or stop. It has a 4-valve head, dual carburetors, one for low RPM, one for high, and a dry sump oil system carried in the frame to keep the engine compact. The engine is a 608 cubic centimeter single cylinder making 42 horsepower. Why did it fail? Americans hated kick-starting bikes in the 80s. The electric starter was king, and a single-cylinder street bike seemed agricultural compared to the Smooth 4s. It flopped, but it is visceral. Every power pulse is felt. It weighs nothing. It teaches you how to carry momentum. It is a beautiful machine to look at and to ride. It connects you to the road in a way that modern bikes, with all their filters and electronics, simply cannot. It was a decent price at $2,600 back then, and this rare desirable thumper has actually gone up in value, now often selling for $3,000. But before Triumph revived the Bonneville, Kawasaki built a better Bonneville than Triumph did. This is the most authentic British twin ever made by Japan. Number 3, the Kawasaki 650. The W650 is gorgeous. It features a bevel gear drive for the camshaft, which is an expensive, intricate piece of engineering that looks stunning. It has a kickstarter and electric start, twin pea-shooter exhaust. It is a modern bike built with vintage methods. The engine is a 676 cubic centimeter parallel twin, making 50 horsepower. It is a long-stroke engine for that classic thumping feel. It is unknown because it came out right before the retro craze really took off. Triumph launched the new Bonneville a year later and stole the spotlight with the brand name. Kawasaki quietly discontinued it, but it is better built than the Triumph. The chrome is deeper, the engine is prettier, and it handles better. It is a cult classic, waiting to explode in value. It is the bike you buy if you want the style without the oil leaks. This gorgeous retro cost $6,500 in 2000, and its value is slowly climbing, sitting around $4,500 used today. And our next bike is a Fireblade engine in a naked frame with exhaust pipes under the seat. It looks like a brute, but it rides like a sweetheart. This is the Honda that can do it all. Number 2, the Honda 919. The Honda 919 was Honda's answer to the Street Fighter trend. They took the CBR 900RR engine, tuned it for torque, and wrapped it in a simple steel backbone frame. It features fuel injection, which was early for its time. It has under-seat exhaust, which looks cool, but makes your clothes smell like gas. It has adjustable suspension and powerful brakes. The engine is a 919 cubic centimeter inline-4, making 103 horsepower. However, it was too polite. Street fighters are supposed to be scary. The Honda was refined, smooth, and quiet. The press called it boring because it didn't try to kill you, but it is the ultimate daily rider. It is fast enough to scare you, but easy enough to commute on. The engine is bulletproof. It is a sleeper super naked that blends into the background until you twist the throttle. It was $8,000 when it first hit the showrooms in 2002, but today you can enjoy this super naked for a very reasonable $3,500. I have to ask you, do you prefer the naked muscle look of the 919 or the classic retro look of the W650? Let me know your style in the comments. And finally, the number 1. It is the cockroach of the motorcycle world. It survives everything. It is the ultimate budget bike that nobody talks about because it is everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Number 1. The Suzuki GS500F. The GS500 has been around since the dawn of time. The F model added a full fairing to make it look like a GSX-R. It fooled nobody, but it added wind protection and style. It is ancient, air-cooled parallel twin, 2 valves per cylinder, steel frame. But simplicity is its brilliance. There is nothing to break. The engine is a 487 cubic centimeter parallel twin, making 47 horsepower. Why does nobody talk about it? It is the generic motorcycle. It isn't fast, cool, or sexy. It is the appliance you buy to learn on and then sell. It gets no glory, but it is the cheapest way to get on 2 wheels reliably. You can buy one for nothing. Parts are available everywhere. It gets 60 miles per gallon. It handles okay. It does highway speeds. It is the unsung hero of the motorcycle world. I bought a crashed GS500 for $400 once. I bent the forks back with a steel pipe, duct taped the seat, and rode it for a year. It never failed to start. Not once. It is a loyal dog of a bike that asks for nothing and gives you the freedom of the road. The final model year sold for $5,000, and you can buy this indestructible cockroach for as little as $1,500. Click the next video to continue the road trip. Join our tribe by subscribing. And if you want early access, become a member. And don't forget to like this video.